Hello, everyone. My name is Shandaba, and welcome to my podcast, Going the Extra Mile. As a student athlete, I'm curious to what other student athletes do outside of school and sports. This podcast serves as a platform for student athletes to speak about their lives and a space for individuals to spread their knowledge. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to episode 2 of Going the Extra Mile. Today we're with ARINZE UDDOH. He is a very good friend of mine, classmate of mine from Amherst College. He runs track, and we're both in CACSAC together, which we could explain more about later. But yes, ARINZE is here with us today, and we're going to talk a lot about some really good things. ARINZE, do you want to take it from here, kind of let them know who you are? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Arinze. I'm a rising junior at Amherst College, an economics major, and doing a certificate in African studies. On the track and field team, like Sean said, I'm a sprinter. On campus, I'm part of CACSAC, also like Sean said. I'm also the president of our African Caribbean Student Union. I'm just happy to be on the show.
Yeah, for sure. And you're joining us here from
New York. Yeah, I should have said that. I'm from New York too.
No,
I'm in Yonkers right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I kind of just want to, get to know more about you. So you're from New York. Tell us a bit about your background, like your parents. If you have any siblings or anything. Tell us about your life. Yeah.
So I'm from New York. My parents are both from Nigeria. They came here for college. So I was born here, but I always go back every now and then just because my parents are really big on like having me understand like where I come from and my culture. I got a younger brother who's finishing up his last year in high school before he like tries to go off to college. So yeah, I think were those all your questions?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just you can kind of say however much you want, but whatever you want.
Yeah, but that's like a little bit about my background in terms of my family.
Yeah, that's nice. What about like high school? Like, what was your high school like?
Yeah, so I went to high school at Fordham Prep, which is a school in the Bronx. It's like a prep school that shares campus with the university. I was definitely interested. I have a lot of cool memories there, a lot of bad memories there too.
Yeah,
I guess that's like with all high schools.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I like love Fordham. I still keep in contact with all my friends till today.
Yeah.
I started off in basketball, but then shifted off to track after that. Didn't really work out. So like I'll always be grateful to Fordham for kind of introducing me into like the track realm or whatever you call it, and helped me get into Amherst as well. So Fordham Prep was definitely a great experience. I go back there, say what's up to my coaches all the time.
Yeah.
It's always good vibes.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about like the transition to college? Like, how do you like Amherst? Just tell us about it.
Yeah, I will say the transition wasn't that bad. Coming to Amherst College, like I knew I was coming in as a student athlete, but I think the mentality that I maintained is like I didn't want to be defined as like an athlete just because like I feel like it's really performance based. So if I started off my season and just didn't do well, I'd be pretty let down. So I just came in like as a regular student, just trying to like enjoy the campus, get a good feeling for these professors, all that kind of stuff. And then track kind of came along. Unfortunately, I did pretty well my first season. So I was glad like both of those things, like my academic and social life, were able to mesh together. And then the track was right on top of it. So transition wasn't that bad. Coming in was pretty smooth. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what's your plan for the fall? You've made your decision on what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do the fall remotely. It was funny because like before they made the announcement, I remember like telling my friends like, "Oh yeah, I'm going back on campus. Like I don't care. I'm gonna find a way." And then when they made the announcement, I was like in my group chat, and everyone was like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna stay at home. So I was like, I'm not gonna go on campus if I'm
Yeah,
not gonna know anybody there. So
yeah.
and they cut the semester like kind of short. So it's like
Mhm.
I guess an extra 2 months won't kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also gonna do remote classes. I think I'm like one of the few in my team doing remote classes, so it's gonna be different. But I don't know. I just didn't want to wait. I didn't want to delay having to graduate,
Yeah.
even though having that like on-campus experience would be really nice. But
Yeah.
it's just weird times, and everyone's got to deal with the same thing. Um,
Yeah. No,
so
I feel that she was kind of asked. I thought my mom would be kind of like hard on me for it, but she was asking me like, so like, what do you want to do? Do you want to take the semester off? I was just like,
yeah,
no, like, and she was like, all right, good answer. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. Okay, and what's your major again?
Yeah, I'm an economics major. I
Economics
was
major.
planning to be a math major. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember our intermediate class. That really changed things
Oh,
for me.
it changed.
Yeah, after that, that kind of like was an eye opener because like up till the end of my freshman year, I was like, I could do this double math in
Yeah,
econ major. Like I think I got a hold of it.
yeah.
And then I was like, nah, like my GPA was not
For me, it was the other way. I was like,
really. I know
I was thinking about
you
being
were
econ, and
good.
then had to drop the econ and continue with math. So,
Nah, that's
um,
cool.
yeah,
Figuring things out.
yeah. Um, but yeah, Yakubu Jima is my advisor now.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah, it's good. I just had a conversation with her today. We're like picking courses. So,
That's dope.
yeah, she's doing well. I'm really happy that she's my advisor.
I try to avoid her on campus because I told her I was gonna like take multi and like
Uh,
declare,
yeah,
and like I didn't. So I'm like duck and dodge every here
yeah,
and there.
I feel that. Okay, so all right, there's this huge thing that you've been doing for a very long time. I've enjoyed seeing you do this. It's a huge inspiration to me, and it makes me want to like start something like it for people I know in Zimbabwe. But you have Udukoro Empowerment Organization, and could you just basically explain like how you came about starting it and like what it is, and then yeah, just teach us about this organization.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, both my parents from Nigeria, and the first time I went back was probably like when I was around 8 years old. As
Hmm.
you go back for Christmas, and like the first trip back, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the best, like just because I was an 8 year old and like I was obsessed with video games and
Yeah.
watching TV and all that. And I go back like there's no Wi-Fi, the like electricity's faulty.
Yeah.
I don't speak Igbo, so like I get taunted like by my uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the best, but the one experience that I did enjoy is like my grandma would throw together this like celebration around Christmas because her birthday was like 3 days after. So it was like just a little thing for the kids in the village. It would
Hmm.
be like in our family compound, and it
Hmm.
would just invite everyone in the village for a day of celebration. There'd be like a DJ and MC, like food, games,
Hmm.
dancing, singing, just like a nice, festivity type of event
Yeah.
in the community. And then at the end, she'd make sure like each kid got like a gift, but also like some sort of like academic material because she's really big on like education and just reinforcing that in her community. So that was like the highlight of my trip because even though like I felt like I was kind of an outsider, like I enjoyed the vibes during that
Hmm.
um like that kind of celebration. And so
Hmm.
as I got older, started to understand my culture a little more, I
Hmm.
would keep talking to her about how the kids are doing. She's gonna keep doing this, different ways to expand things like that. And it's about 2015. I think that was like my fourth time going. And she comes to me and she says that like she's thinking of making this like an official nonprofit to
Yeah.
like grow awareness and try to take this to the next level.
Hmm.
And she was like asking me for her opinion. I was like, yeah, definitely 100%. Like I would love to be a part of it too, even
Yeah.
though I'm still in high school. Like
Yeah.
I really like enjoy talking to you about this, and like I think we have some really good ideas.
Yeah.
So we officially launched the Udukoro Empowerment Organization in 2015. And basically, it's a nonprofit that provides academic and material support to economically challenged students
Yeah.
living in southeastern Nigeria,
Yeah.
specifically in the village of Afara,
Yeah.
which is in Abia State, Umuahia, and yeah, in that area. And
Okay.
basically, in accomplishing that, we have a couple of like community-based projects. So the Christmas benefit, like I already described, we
Yeah.
also do school donations, library donations,
Mm-hmm.
tutoring, and we're trying to do the scholarship service.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that's pretty much like the main like business model of it. And I will say, like, being in high school, I definitely didn't devote as much time as I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
it, just because like it was college apps and trying to graduate and all that good stuff. But then when I got to college, my freshman year, around March, unfortunately, like my grandfather passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So like that kind of was like an eye opener for me. Just like knowing what type of legacy he left behind. It was like, I want to do the same thing. So like after that, I kind of just went full speed, just spreading awareness on campus, fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
Over the summer, like I I interned at a place in Boston,
Yeah.
like a startup, and one of my like fellow interns was like a graphic designer. So I told her about the organization and was like,
Yeah.
do you think we could think about like a logo? So we
Yeah.
got that done.
Yeah.
And it's just been like a lot of progress, and I feel happy that I'm making a difference. And like, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, give $1 a day to
Yeah.
help this like child. It's like we're actually on the ground doing work, trying to
Yeah.
benefit the community and grow this as much as possible.
Correct.
So I definitely see it me continuing this in the long run, and whatever like I decide to do career wise, I
Yeah.
want to have this like attached to my reputation. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, it definitely seems like it's something that's going to take you throughout your whole life, which I'm like very happy for you. And like honestly, like you're such a huge inspiration. Like I remember when you started this and you kind of like blew it up on like social media. I was like, wow, like he's really doing big things. And I think I sent you a couple of messages before.
Nah, I was about to say, like, you were
Yeah.
telling me about how you went through the same thing in Tanzania, was it right?
It's Zimbabwe.
Sorry, Zimbabwe.
Both my parents are from Zimbabwe, and
Yeah.
I kind of did work like that when I was a sophomore in high school. I had like collected a bunch of equipment. I did a project where I collected a bunch of soccer equipment, and I had like a soccer camp at a local school where
That's
kind of
dope,
close to
man.
where my dad grew up. And yeah, we ran it there. We left all the equipment there.
You did over
Well,
the summer?
this was like it was over the winter. It was like it was like by around like New Year's, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, it was great. Like I mean, the kids loved it and everything, and they were so appreciative of all the things. And I don't know, it just felt amazing being able to like help them out in that way. And I'm sure like all these kids and all these people you're helping, like you're such a role model to them, and you probably like think they probably just feel amazing. It's insane. But yeah, if it ever possible, I could try and do something like that again, and I'm sure I could. I just have to put a lot of effort into it. But
Nah, for real.
yeah,
Like I said, like I remember the conversation that we had. Like, if you need any help or
yeah,
anything, like you've been more than grateful to me, so I'm happy to return the favor.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for explaining that. Oh, also, I understand you're selling some shirts, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I
Yeah.
got it on right
So
now.
yeah, look, this is the new shirt.
Yeah, it's the new shirt. I launched a fundraiser 3 days ago,
Yeah,
and it's done really well, and I'm like super grateful. Like, I think now we're up to around on the fundraiser like around 2,000, and then when we factor in the fundraiser I did last month, it's like
yeah.
3,000 in total. And like
Wow.
I had the goal of just selling some shirts
Yeah,
because like I didn't know where people's heads were at, or if they would
yeah,
really like mess with the fundraiser. So I'm super happy that like people are enthusiastic about it.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna keep trying to spread it like
Yeah.
in increments to different platforms to like,
Yeah.
you know, just continue it until it ends on July 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw that link in the description. You know, you guys can go buy the
Yes.
shirts.
Sean got one too, so
Yeah, so you guys better get your shirts.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. Huge inspiration, and I'm like just really proud of like the stuff you've been doing, and I'm gonna try to do the same soon. I'll try to think of some more soccer stuff.
For sure.
But something that's been in the news in like very recently and constantly, and it probably will be talked about forever. That's the whole Black Lives Matter kind of, I guess I would say like outburst since the deaths. And I wanted to ask about your opinion on, maybe you can just say a couple things about like what you think about the whole thing. Maybe if there's something that you would like to like, and maybe like one thing you would like to tell everyone, or you know, anything interesting that you would like to speak about, you know, you have the floor, and then we can kind of talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'll kind of like try to relate it to just the COVID pandemic as well, because I think
Yeah.
like I think I read somewhere like that we're going through like two pandemics, and it's really true.
Mhm.
But basically when we got that email that we were not coming back to campus, this
Mhm.
kind of relates to like the organization as well. I was actually supposed to fly out to Nigeria to like do one of the projects. It was
Yeah.
a Christmas benefit, but we rescheduled it to around Easter just because there were like complications in the village at that time.
Yeah.
So like this was the first time like I bought my ticket. I was going by myself. And
Mhm.
like the week of like I think Trump said that the European borders were closed. And
Yeah.
this was like Wednesday. And I remember even before with all the news coming out, I was like, I don't care, I'm going.
Yeah.
Like whatever. But yeah, I ended up not going. It was like really heartbreaking. But
Mhm.
then we got sent home and I was just kind of like this is a big setback, I feel like, for me. Fortunately the project was still able to go on and everything, and like
Mhm.
all the funds and awareness that we raised before definitely helped out. But you know, it's different when you're there versus when you're just watching on the sidelines.
Mhm.
I was like, you know, coming home, I still have to finish the semester strong. Like
Mhm.
we're in a really volatile time right now, but like I just had to like stay focused, kind of like have that tunnel vision and kind of just stick it through to the end.
Yeah.
Especially since I had like an internship coming up this summer and I was recruiting for next summer for just
Yeah.
finance roles and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was my mentality coming back home, and I tried to stick to it. And I think it really like helped just lift my spirits during like this pandemic, because you know, close people that I knew were getting sick. And it
Yeah.
was really bad, but you know, I tried to keep that headspace. And then we started hearing about the shootings, which was like just insane. Like
Mhm.
the timing is just it like I have
Almost
no
seem
words
like
for it.
it's like why does this happen? Like, do people not realize like what's going on? You know?
Yeah. And
And
it was just like I was just I was kind of baffled. Um and I was just like, it makes sense that there's so much like pent up aggression and rioting, because for the like first of all, people have been at home for like the past 2-3 months. People have lost
Mhm.
their jobs. People like kind of have nothing. They're
Yeah.
sitting around on their hands all day doing nothing.
Mhm.
And you have such a like a terrible situation or string of situations occur. Like what do you expect people to do? Continue to sit on their hands?
Mhm.
Like all the social distancing advice went out the window.
Yeah.
People were getting up in arms, and like I totally understand that. So
Mhm.
like, because you got to realize, like, just putting everything in perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah.
um Me personally, I tried to help everywhere that in different ways that I could. So I
Mhm.
mentioned that I was in AXU.
Yeah.
We held these activism workshops for about 2 weeks, where basically each of our members on the e-board looked up a person who was, you know, wrongly convicted or
Yeah.
wrongfully shot by the police, And our goal was to like bring awareness to some of the names that you don't see on the news.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of people, and we outlined them, and we outlined bios on them, and we held workshops. And basically we spent the workshops emailing council members, the city that they were involved in, and cold calling people as well, just to like show that we're supporting the movement as well.
Yeah.
And I think that was really effective for those 2 weeks. And then me personally, I'm just, I don't know, I try to stay off social media because it's really like a lot of negative energy that you don't really need sometimes, but it's like so unavoidable. And I just tried to remember the thought process that I had coming home, where it's like we're in a really like terrible time right now, but there's still like an end goal, and like regardless of how bad it was gonna get, I was still focused on like finishing the school year, starting my summer internship, recruiting for next summer. And I think like that's like, in terms of something that I would like a piece of advice to give, it's like real, like even with people not being sure if they're coming back to campus or not, whatever you decide to do, like just remember like there's an end goal, and you need to stay determined. And like, I don't know where you're gonna get that determination from, but find it, and don't let like, as much as it sucks, don't let the outside world like distract you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. If you were to give advice to people, that like states are kind of reopening, we're kind of coming out of lockdown. Like I know Illinois is like, we're almost in our last phase. So like lockdown restrictions will just not be there anymore. Do you have any advice for how people should like go about keeping this whole movement in mind and going back to normal life while being reopened? Do you have any advice for people?
Yeah, first, wear a mask. Like, I know that places are starting to reopen. I know New York is like we were on track, but now like when we saw other places, cases spike up there, we kind of just took a pause, and now we're going more slow. But wear a mask, still social distance. Like that's just off the top of my head, my like first piece of advice. In terms of keeping the movement in mind, I think it's important to realize that like this isn't like a new phenomenon. Like everybody knew that, Black and brown people around the world were being wrongfully convicted by the police. And while I empathize with the sentiment of people coming to arms and having a call to action now to support the movement, it don't make it like a trend. Like if you really claim to be like an activist, or you claim to be an ally advocate, you have to keep that same energy regardless of the situation that we're in, because this is like a systemic issue. It's not something that is like a fad or a trend, like I mentioned earlier. So for people who are very active in the movement, I would just implore you to like remember why you started, and again, like keep that same energy regardless if we're out of quarantine, still in quarantine. You don't always have to help by like donating. I feel like people just donate money and they think like they're good. Like that monetary solutions are positive, but there's other ways you can be active. And sort of like I told you, like the approach that we took at AXU, like we knew that what BSU was doing was like great with the donation matching, and they were growing a ton of support. We didn't feel like we had that same sort of appeal to a broader background, so we took a different approach on like, reaching out to people who are involved in cases where Black people are wrongfully accused. So it's like, think outside the box, think of different ways to help, and like keep the same energy if you really believe in the movement, because this stuff isn't ending soon. Unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to ask for your advice for other student athletes, or not even just student athletes, just any other college student out there who is thinking about, the last or not the next semester, whether or not they're taking a semester off or, they're doing online classes or going back on campus, what advice would you give them, on making that decision? And just any kind of like motivation for them. This is our last thing, and then we'll get you out of here. You can go eat some dinner.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess advice for student athletes or just students in general for like navigating if they want to come back to campus or go remote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally for me, and this is just based off like my circumstances, I can't speak for everyone else.
Yeah.
My main thing was like, okay, remote learning isn't optimal, but I don't think it would be beneficial for me to take a gap year or a gap semester because I really love track. Don't get me wrong. Track is in the spring and the winter, so it's different for me. But if track was in the fall, like I really love track. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like I didn't come to Amherst. Well, I got recruited for track, but I didn't come to Amherst to run track. I came to Amherst to get a degree.
Yeah.
And that's like what I fully intend to do, whether we're on campus or not on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my reasoning for doing it remote. I would say for other people trying to make the decision, think about how much you value, and depend on what level of the D1, D2, D3, think about how much you value the sport and how much you value the college experience and weigh that against finishing in 4 years.
Yeah.
And think about the consequences that would happen if you took the semester off or if you did remote, because it's on both sides. And that's really something that you have to think about. Like no one else can determine that but yourself. And then you'll definitely make an educated decision at the end of the day. Like it's you. You have your priorities, and like that you should feel happy with whatever decision that you make. And that's kind of like what I did. And I mean, we'll see how it plays off. I hope I'm back in the spring for sure.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we can still graduate together. I didn't know if we were gonna take the semester off, but we're both doing remote, so looks like we're still on track to graduate together, which would be kind of fun. So happy about that. But other than that, thank you so much for joining us. I learned a lot from you today, and I hope you're gonna keep going strong with Udukoro, and have a great summer. Thanks for joining us, and I wish you all the best.
Of course, man. I just want to say, like, I really like what you're doing with this podcast or like YouTube talk that you're doing, just because like you're staying active and you're not just, like I said, sitting on your hands, like you're trying to do something productive. So I really mess with it, and like I'll definitely watch more episodes. I really appreciate you for giving me this exposure, because I've kind of been on this informal press run with the organization. And this is like a check I can put off. So like I'm super thankful. And like I said, if you need any advice with like in terms of how you want to get more active in your community, reach out to me. Like you got my number and everything. And cop a shirt, please. The link is in the bio.
The link
it's
will
up
be in
until
the bio.
July 27th.
Yes.
Just even if you don't want to buy a shirt, you can just give any monetary donation. It really makes a difference, and my grandma will definitely be happy about it, because she's watching too. So appreciate you for having me on, bro.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Arinze, have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, we'll see you.
Your notifications are on. If you enjoy this episode, pop a like. All the best.